Look into that, my friends. Dr. William Davis. Even if you're on carbs and you're going to stay on carbs, that can be helpful. People have lost weight and their digestion has improved and a lot of good things. And I think that that's also maybe a key to longevity, or at least a good quality of life for however long you live. That's my goal. My goal is not to live longer than normal. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. My goal is to have a good quality of life for however long I live. I think that that is the way. Hello, my friends. Good news today. Well, good news and bad news, as the saying goes. So I'll give you some of the good news first. I'm down another couple of pounds last weigh-in. So I'm down for a total of 52 pounds. Feeling good. Clothes are falling off of me. Belt loop is tightening up. Got a big old section of belt now. I'm waiting to buy new clothes till I get to all my goals. I'm almost to my weight goal, which was 175. So I'm down to 178. But I might have to go lower than that because I still have some hanging fat around my midsection, and I also have hanging skin that'll all resolve. Just it's going to take time. I want to talk about my biggest problem that I've had on Carnivore. Nobody wants to talk about this kind of stuff. The biggest problem. Well, I shouldn't say nobody does, but everybody wants to talk about it all being roses. But this is sort of a good bad problem, if you will. And so I'll get to that in a minute. But I just had a really good conversation with a friend that I haven't seen in a long time. And he's around my age, and he was really questioning the carnivore diet after I told him that I was carnivore. Not questioning it like, oh, it doesn't work or anything. He was just really interested in what I had to say about it and how it was healing thousands of people and so on, and how I had more energy, more brain clarity, and so on. And I told him a little bit about some of the problems and things that I've had, but that we all have, and that you got to dial yourself in on carnivore. But I mean, really, folks, carnivore is it seems like a miracle, but it's the way we've supposed to have been eating all along. But since we haven't, and we grow old and decrepit, and think that that's just normal, this seems like a miracle. And in a way, it is. It's a miracle that we found out about it. And it's not new. It's been around for a long, long time. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's get to what is my biggest problem that I've had on carnivore. The biggest problem I've had on carnivore is, wait for it, I feel so good and I have so much energy and so much clarity that I'm out doing things and working around the farm and doing stuff that I normally wouldn't be doing, and I overdo it. Normally I would quit early, and go, okay, and it'll be there tomorrow, I'm going to do it, but now I work until dark or although I am working on it, on not doing that, but still, when you're in the middle of something, I just want to get it done. And so we've been moving fences around and built a horse arena for Brenda and so on. And we just got a new chute for the cows. And it's an older one. We got it really cheap. And so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work to it. But it seems to be functional. I'm going to do some modifications and make it even more functional, that kind of thing. And so we've been doing that, fixing the fence. The back fence was falling over. And I had a guy who works on all the water ditches out here came out and helped me, and man, he made short work of that. He's in his 50s, but he had a big, huge track hoe, and so we were putting these cedar posts in, and he would just, he'd have his helper pull the fence back, because it was leaning over and falling over, and then set the post right there, and he would just take the track hoe and push it right in. I'm like, man, sure pays to have the right equipment. Or the better equipment. Anyways, I was thinking I was going to have to tear that whole thing out and put in a whole new fence, and I was going to do it conventional, how I knew how to do fencing. And I had never thought of that the way he did it. And he just offered to help. I asked him to come out and take a look at my ditch because it had a blowout and some different things, and he said, "Oh, I can get that fence fixed for you," and this and that. I'm like, "Really? What would you charge me?" "Oh, I'm not going to charge you anything." Although I did have to buy extra posts. So he put in certain posts, but we kind of didn't have enough, and so I said, "Well, let's go buy some," and so we did. So anyways, the whole thing cost me $200. And it took, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours maybe. That kind of stuff. So that's my big problem. Not necessarily a bad problem to have, but it has made me wake up stiffer in the morning and my back more sore and that kind of thing. But still, my inflammation is down very low. My back pain is down very low. I'm sleeping good at night. Excited that I'm losing weight again. I guess, those kind of problems are the problems to have. So yeah, you see what I did there, some clickbait a little bit, but it's true though. That's my problem, overdoing it because I feel so good. Carnivore works, my friends. As I've said, it's working. Doing my bone broth, doing my l.reuteri and l.reuteri yogurt, and I've upped it now to a couple of tablespoons of each instead of just 1 tablespoon. The histamine reaction has settled down, almost completely gone now. Got a little bit of itchiness in a couple of little spots, but nothing like it was. And the rash is fading. And so I'm happy about that. Looking forward to eating more of that yogurt because it's just delicious, my friends. Look into that, my friends. Dr. William Davis. Even if you're on carbs and you're going to stay on carbs, that can be helpful. People have lost weight and their digestion has improved and a lot of good things. And I think that that's also maybe a key to longevity, or at least a good quality of life for however long you live. That's my goal. My goal is not to live longer than normal. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. My goal is to have a good quality of life for however long I live. I think that is the way to go, so I'm not worried about it. And I cringe at these guys that are doing all these things to try and extend their life, taking drugs and different things. And so, but, to each their own. You do you and I'll do me, right? All right, my friends, this is the quick update, and I'm a little late on getting it in, but here you go, my friends. Questions, comments, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Help that algorithm. All right, my friends, peace out.